What have you realized you like less and less the older you get? Going out after I already got home. It's non-negotiable if the bra has been removed already. Wearing clothes that are uncomfortable for the sake of fashion. My tolerance for cute but painful shoes, itchy fabric, annoying tags, etc., has gone way down. Also, now that I've discovered they make dresses and skirts and women's pants that do actually have real pockets, I can't go back to the shitty fake ones that barely hold a credit card. Spelling. Loud and crowded places, unless it's a concert that I really wanted to go to. Abrasiveness or people who are contrarian for the sake of being contrarian. LPT, respect your child's privacy, avoid embarrassing stories. 1000%. My mom used to share embarrassing things I did in front of people as a child and I built up lots of resentment. My mom made a habit out of sharing embarrassing stories with anyone and everyone she could. Now she wonders why we don't have a relationship. Too many people fucked up at work, so now we need safety glasses. I worked on a construction site with over 600 workers. One day we had to sign a policy document that mandated we put on our safety glasses with 2 hands. The reason? Multiple people tried to flip theirs open and shoved the temple tip far enough into their eye to need medical attention. Now you're also protected against people with no sense of humor. What is something that drastically improved your mental health? When my income went up. Money doesn't buy happiness, but it can relieve stress and solve a lot of problems. Cutting off toxic people and learning to say no without feeling guilty. It was life-changing. Getting rid of unnecessary stress. People. Things. Places. Whatever stresses you out that you can control. Eliminate from your life. Regular, consistent exercise. What is your darkest family secret that you could never tell anyone? I found out right before she died that my grandmother was raped by her brother when she was 16. She was pregnant and my grandfather married her and raised the child as his own. My mom gave birth on the floor of her apartment. I used to think it was because it happened so fast, that's what she always said. I recently learned it was because she was in denial she was pregnant and never got any prenatal care, denied it up until the baby was literally coming out of her. I tell all my family secrets. They basically stopped talking to me after I made it public that my brother raped our cousin. EU countries are starting to float the idea of sending troops to Greenland for defensive purpose. Us military members, what would you do if your president ordered the invasion of Denmark? ITT, answers by literally anyone but US military members. You're not going to get the responses you're asking for. Current military members are forbidden to post their commentary on issues like this. I work as a contractor at a military base that trains helicopter pilots. The most I could contribute is to quit my job. I would be replaced immediately, but I would feel better about myself. LPT, handle public insults in meetings with grace. Oh, OP is losing their hearing as well. I said clean out your ears. Works every time. I do this when someone tries to be slick in meetings. They usually stutter and try to rephrase it in a nicer way cause they know everyone's watching. It's funny seeing them squirm tbh. LPT, if you're googling things like do I need to leave my relationship or is my workplace toxic, you already know the answer. I thought this too for a long time, but then I realized some people have no self-awareness and are quite naive and or ignorant. Therapist here, not necessarily, that's assuming everyone's intuition is in good health. What person in history is the perfect example of either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain? Fred Phelps of the Westboro Baptist Church started as a civil rights lawyer who fought racial discrimination and was willing to take on the cases of black clients when others would not. He received awards from the NAACP early in his career. Wound up being disbarred for professional misconduct. Some of his religious beliefs were already a bit extreme before that, but he kind of went off the rails after that. Jim Jones. He originally stood up for civil rights when it was really unpopular. Was hospitalized and accidentally placed in the black ward. When the doctors found out, they tried to move him, but he refused. Then he became a cult leader and used his power and influence to end the lives of 1,000 people. What's a non-physical quality that can make someone instantly unattractive, no matter how good they look? When they only talk about themselves and don't initiate a two-way conversation. If your only way of making conversations is by talking about other people. To food by letting my kids watch Bluey. This episode of Bluey is called Jail Time. Your 5-year-olds shouldn't have to explain a particular episode of Bluey to any adults, even CPS. But you certainly can. What a dilemma. It's not a fuck up on your part, Bluey is, otherwise, a very wholesome cartoon with a surprisingly huge following from both kids and adults. To foot by eating an orange for the first time in over a year. LOL, I started reading and was thinking it sounds like scurvy. The fact that you were intensely craving oranges is so cool. Your body basically knew what was going on and told you what to do to fix it? Right when I read mysterious bruises and swollen gums, I thought, scurvy. But I get why just going about your life, you wouldn't initially put 2 and 2 together. It just becomes a bunch of separate minor issues. Hopefully this serves as a great learning experience and leads to better nutrition and health. People who forgave their partner for cheating, how did that turn out? My mother-in-law forgave my father-in-law about 20 years ago. He's been an anxious, guilty shadow of his former self, riddled with mental health issues, and she's been miserable. He's never cheated since, but they're both the saddest people I know. The problem is that even when you forgive, you don't forget. So the automatic and complete trust is gone. When before you always just assumed what they said was true, you now start to wonder anytime there's room for doubt. Are they really with that friend? Why did they stay out so long last night? How come their way home from work took so long today? It's exhausting and destructive to both parties involved. You never look at them the same again. Drive up, okay, then. Gretzky's is getting silly these days. Train your employees. Try Gordy's or Lemieux instead. Impatient drive-through people give me the shits. Like and subscribe.